Hey, everybody. We're live from the San Diego Historical Games Convention. And I've got three friends here to talk about the War Room at Dice Tower West. First, let me introduce my aide de camp. I think we decided that's the case, right, Bobby Factor?
Tis I.
There you go. We also have the curator of GMT Games, Gene Billingsley.
Hi.
How you doing, Gene? And then David from Dice Tower West. Is that right?
That's right. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. No, good to have you all here. The idea was that we would get together and talk a little bit about the War Room at Dice Tower West. Now, I know it's in March, and that's a long time from now. And in pandemic years, I think it's like 3 years from now. But we're gonna get together and we're gonna to do some things that we haven't done before, but we're excited about nonetheless, and the potential to expose in a positive way a large group of people that probably haven't seen or played a lot of historical games to historical games. And the Worm's going to be sponsored by GMT Games and SD HisCon. But David, this is your brainchild and your baby. So I'd love to hear more from you about how the Dice Tower West got started and what idea drove you to this conclusion that this would be a good thing for us to do.
Well, Dice Tower actually has a pretty long history here, and we started off as something called MeepleCon in Las Vegas quite a few years ago, and there's something called Gamma here that happens in Vegas. It used to anyway, and Tom Vassell actually used to come out to Gamma, and that's kind of where we made the connection with Dice Tower. And through various years of inviting Tom out, it kind of became something where we formed a partnership that seemed to work. So we eventually became Dice Tower West, which that was a few years back. And the war game actually thing started a few years back as well. Actually, after we had kind of that COVID thing, we actually had our convention, and like a week later, things kind of closed down. But that week that we had that convention, we met somebody that kind of donated a large collection, a kind of a benefactor to Dice Tower West. In the past, we had kind of shipped our library from Florida, which was quite expensive to do. So when we got the opportunity to acquire a nice collection, we were really excited. So a week after Dice Tower West occurred in 2020, we drove down to Colorado, and he had told us it was a nice collection. We bought ourselves a U-Haul, and when we got there, we ended up needing 2 U-Hauls. That's how nice the collection was. So we were really blown away, and that's kind of what got us started thinking about a war room at Dice Tower West, because in this collection, it was a massive collection of 5,000 games or so, and it has a great history. Some games from the 50s and the 60s, pretty much a variety of things, which we're going to try to honor at Dice Tower West. We're going to try to showcase that library in a way that not all games might not be played, but they're going to be fun to look at for people. There's game show games and Avalon Hill games and all sorts of stuff there for people to kind of browse when they come. But he also had a very nice collection of war games, of a very large collection and of very nice games. So we started brainstorming, being that I'm a war game kind of person, a historical games person myself. We just started thinking, how can we kind of incorporate this into Dice Tower West, because I do have a passion for historical games, and I do know that, a lot of people out there just don't know about them. I mean, it's just like any other type of game. One of my favorite themes is Lord of the Rings. Historical games are the same. It's a theme. So, most people don't realize it, but there's a theme there that's already kind of built in. So I have a passion for that. So then I just basically, we started brainstorming as a team. How can we get some more gaming, some historical gaming at Dice Tower West, front and center, and be something that's a part of the con, not just kind of something in the back room somewhere. We want it to be an integral part of what we're doing. I had been to, I don't know if you know this, Harold, but I actually went to a couple of your conventions.
Yes.
And I went to a couple of Gene's weekend events as well. So that kind of just, that's kind of where I started. I love GMT games. You put on a good show. So I thought that would be a good place to kind of start. and reach out and see if we, somehow we can make it a win-win so everybody kind of can have a good experience. That's
It
pretty
was
much the history.
it was great, David, and it was exciting for us to get the invitation to join you. And of course, GMT has been a big part of the San Diego Historical Games Convention from the very beginning, giving us support in many different ways. But you'll see a lot of GMT designers at the SD HisCon, and a lot of that's due to Gene's help and leading our way, and it's been fantastic for us. Gene, what do these conventions, especially one this big, right? That's going to be thousands of people. What does this mean to GMT?
Well, we love making historical strategy games, of course, but we really love the connections that come from playing historical strategy games. One of the things, of course, we lost so much during this pandemic was the face-to-face aspect of play. And I think we're all thankful that we got to play a lot virtually online, it kind of filled in some of that. But there's nothing like sitting down around a table and playing a game where you all have a shared interest, a shared passion. So many social connections come from that, and just enjoyment of being with friends. And that's honestly why we do the weekend at the warehouse twice a year. And we just got to have our first one in October since the pandemic started. And it was amazing. I mean, there were people there crying because they got to be back with some of their old friends. And it just made me realize how much of a connection we make over games. So Harold, years ago when you came to me and asked about helping with the SD HisCon, it was a no-brainer for me because, it was more people to do that with outside of our area code, if you will. You happen to know all the great places I love to eat in San Diego, so that doesn't hurt. And so here again, we've got this amazing event that's much bigger than any event we've ever put on with the Dice Tower West, and we have an opportunity to come in and be a part of that and to bring our various brands of historical strategy games to players there, and hopefully to help David and all the crew there to expand their market a little bit for the show itself. So I'm for anything that helps gamers get together and play games. And so if it's on a large scale, great. If it's in our little warehouse with 120 people, I'm happy there too. But I'm really pleased to be partnering with you guys, Harold, and to help you guys, David, and even expanding your already terrific show.
That's great. Thank you, Gene. David, what do you think? What do you think this is going to look like? I mean, is this going to be? We're going to bring a lot of resource to it, but how would you like it to be compartmentalized or not compartmentalized? How would you like it to interface with the rest of the con? What's your vision in how we make this all work together?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of thought, a con within a con. I mean, we want it to be a con of in and of itself. For instance, I want people who already are interested in historical games to come to this convention and have a great time. Like if that should be the first priority, right? So anybody that likes that kind of thing, we want that to be attractive to come to Dice Tower West and to experience those games. So a veteran historical game or war gamer, this is the place for them. But also we wanted to provide opportunities for our guests. There's a lot of players that come to Dice Tower West. I mean, believe it or not, I think last time I looked, there's almost 30% of our attendees are first time at any convention at all. So, I mean, that's a huge number that kind of got us by surprise this year. But this is the first time they went to any convention. They may not know what an historical game is. They may not know what a lot of other games are. We want this to be a piece that they can come in and have some sort of introductory experience so that hopefully, everybody has that introductory experience with historical games. You don't start off playing, a 10-hour game or something, in your first try. You start off playing something that not too meaty and you like it and you continue that. So that's kind of what we're looking for. So something to provide a good experience for people that love war games already and something that also provides a good experience for people that are brand new to the hobby.
Now, I know that Tim and Carl from Wargame Boot Camp have been a fixture at the Dice Tower West, and I know you're appreciative of all their work. We all love them and what they do, and I just wanted to mention that we're looking forward to Tim and Carl being a part of this. Right? I mean, they're such a big part of the community, and I know that you're appreciative of what they've done for you to date.
Yes, very much so. We really enjoy having them out at the show, and they got really good. Every time that they've come, there's been a good experience for people. So that's
Yeah.
a plus. So I think that we can build upon that.
Agreed. Agreed. Now, Bobby, the Bobby factor. Um, Bobby, you've been instrumental in coordinating amongst the three of us, fundamentally, the story and how we tell the story, and it's really it's resonated amongst gamers. Has it been tough to pull together these three different organizations into one message?
Oh, that's a really good question that I didn't anticipate, but I'll
Thanks.
start off by saying no. I mean, first off, right, Dice Tower West is a very family oriented con. It's very much welcoming, as David has mentioned, and it's very open to newcomers as well as veterans. It's an all in convention for players. And then we have GMT Games, right? It's been a family run company, but most importantly, they're part of the larger wargaming family. We often talk about our niche hobby as really a big family, very tight connections. It's a very, very specialized hobby with specialized games. I mean, some people think that we think of ourselves as elite, but really it's not that. We really have this sort of familial connection. We're a brotherhood and sisterhood. And it's really remarkable. I mean, I love the board gaming hobby, generally speaking, but historical board gaming it's wonderful. It's tightly knit. And that made working with the various organizations, including the Wargame Boot Camp, who are, we consider them a complete part of our family. In fact, I've experienced them at various conventions, and I can't think of them getting a negative review. They are amazing. They bring their game and all that experience and knowledge to every event they come to, and we're only going to benefit from that. We're all going to benefit from that. But I mean, for us, right? Pulling together these organizations for the SD HistCon team, it's a really big deal, right? The War Room at Dice Tower West is going to allow us to flex our SD HistCon muscles, if you were, right? Our wargaming experience, our instructional acumen, and our communications and marketing skills, and it's really the combination of the original SD HistCon team's physical con experience and now a lot of virtual con experience. It's led us here. And, as cliche as it sounds, War Room's going to be our finest hour. So we're really, really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a blast. We've got, all sorts of things planned besides having an instructional setting, a very open-ended instructional setting, bolstered by all those skills of Carl Crater and Tim Porter of the Wargame Boot Camp. But we're going to have classes, and we're going to have camps like a coin camp, or we're going to have a detachment teaching Volker Runke's Levian campaign series, for instance. We might have Twilight Struggle tournaments and a combat commander camp. These are all, these are going to be events within that event space. I think that will resonate with a lot of gamers. We've got a lot of enthusiastic teachers, and I think we'll really be able to bring in lots of newcomers. And for us, I mean, the four of us, we know that these games virtually drip with theme and narrative. And once somebody gets that in them, for any board game for that matter. But having a teacher for some more complex historical board games to me is key. Not just really, slamming down a fairly threatening rule book quite often, right? For most people in the hobby. But having a good teacher is gold. And that's what we're going to bring to the table. Enthusiasm, openness, diversity. We're really going to bring our game. So working with the three, working with all of you, it's a total pleasure. It's been great.
Good. Now, Bobby's full of ideas. I think you guys know that. And Gene and David, if you worked a little bit with Bobby, his work's amazing. I will also tell you he has bad ideas. And there are a couple of ideas that he's posted, that he's pushed for this convention that we've been fighting. And I think we've got them suppressed. But the first one is game designer karaoke, where you get historical game designers together to,
No, gee, no.
you know,
I'm with Harold.
Come in for the big win. War game designer karaoke, or The Voice War Gamer edition. Yes.
So I just want you, Gene and David, I want you to know what we're protecting you from at the same time, right? We have to make sure to use his powers for good and not evil.
I had no idea.
I've got some duds, so be aware.
But that's the risk of being an idea man. David, how big do you anticipate this convention on a whole will be? And do you want to talk a little bit about the venue?
Sure. I mean, it's pretty exciting this year. I mean, with COVID, you kind of don't know what's going to happen, when you open back up. So, we were really excited this year to at least know that we're going to be larger than we were the last convention that we had. So we're really proud of that fact that we've actually grown with a year off. And we think that we're going to, in the past, I think we were about 1,700 or so. We think we'll probably be around the 2,000 range this year.
Wow.
So that's kind of what we're thinking at this point.
Are tickets still available, or registrations?
Yeah, with everything
hotel
going on
rooms?
this year, we decided to leave the tickets open for a longer period than we normally would, just because everybody's comfort level is a little different this year. So, in the past, we've kind of, opened up ticket sales on September and been done by October 1st or so. This year, we're gonna probably extend it till at least the end of the year, maybe the middle of January, to give people as much opportunity as they can to feel comfortable about coming to Dice Tower West.
That's great. And the the room rates are really extraordinary. So we're looking forward to
Yeah, this year, this will be our first year at the Rio, so we're excited. We actually, got an extended. We were at the Westgate, where we got an extended contract with the Rio, and the room rates, like you said, they're tough to beat. And then also we got a nice discount off those resort fees, which, sometimes it's a little misleading when you're looking at the same rates and one's paying a lot more for the resort fees than the other. So we got a good package for everybody to come and enjoy themselves with.
Yes. Yeah, so that's exciting. Well, we've got a number of designers that are committed to coming, and of course, a lot can happen in 5 months. But Volko Runke and Jason Matthews and Cole Worley, and a host of others that we expect to be there, but I don't want to talk about until we're sure they've cleared the runway for it. So,
Understood.
very excited. Gene, is there anything you want to say here before we close? What do you think about this event? Are you excited about the access to 2,000 potential new historical gamers?
Well, sure. I love that. But mostly I like connections. I work with teams a lot. At GMT, I work as not the leader, but part of teams, throughout the hobby. And I think one of the most important questions we can ask as human beings is, how can I help? And so that's the approach I took when you first came to me about SD HisCon, Harold, and it's the same one here. There may be areas where we can't help David or you at all with this event, but if we keep asking that question, we have substantial resources inside the historical strategy game genre that I think we can probably bring a lot of help to the party. So I'm looking forward to that. Certainly, it's nice to expose GMT games to new customers, but mostly I like to be part of things that help people enjoy games, especially together in one place. So I'm really looking forward to that and thrilled to be working with all of you guys, and just can't wait to experience the fun of this event.
Those of us at the SD HisCon, we view all of these events as an experiment to allow us to refine something new and different for the next. So I think this first War Room is going to be a grand experiment, and we're going to try a lot of things, and we'll see what works and what doesn't, and then we'll all get together and decide what to do next. But it's an exciting opportunity, and David, I want to thank you for having the idea and sharing it with us. and being so open in every negotiation you and I have had throughout. It's been a joy to work with you and Dice Tower West, so we're very excited.
Yes, and the feeling is mutual. It's been a real pleasure to work with you all as well. And this is, like you said, you hit the nail on the head, that this is not something I'm thinking is going to be just a one shot and done deal. I want this to be something that grows into something really, really good. So that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah, I hope that historical gamers see this as one of the most important events to attend, right? One of the most interesting and exciting events to attend. And as you said before, it's there's no additional charge for the war room. It's you get into the convention and you have access to everything. So just a very exciting format. And Gene, always a pleasure to work with GMT, and love what you do and appreciate all of the support in the gaming industry.
Yep.
That feeling is mutual, Harold. And David, I'm looking forward to getting to know you better and getting to work with you guys at this event.
Appreciate that.
Bobby already knows how to quote me in public better than if I were saying it myself. So
hey,
I'm looking at more work with you, Bobby.
Gene, with all due respect, Gene, I think the quotes that Bobby makes up that you're supposed to say are better than the quotes that you actually did say.
There's no doubt.
What?
So what a great place to end. It was good fun getting together and talking about this. I'm really excited and looking forward to it. And once again, 3 great organizations coming together, it should yield some terrific opportunities. So with that said, good night, guys. Have a good evening. I know, Gene, we have GMT coming up at 5:00. So or 5:00 Pacific. So
time to eat dinner and then back at it, right?
See you in a bit.
Much to come. All right.
Good night,
David. Thanks for coming to SDHistCon. We've seen you around the whole time.
All right.
Good night, guys.
All right.
All right.